She said it like she'd been rehearsing it in the mirror. I want out. The words slid across the dining table with the same cold ease as the knife she'd used minutes earlier to slice bread she didn't touch. Her friends sat behind her, three shadows pretending they weren't listening, pretending they weren't waiting. My pulse didn't jump. It didn't even twitch. I just watched her, the way someone watches a house fire from across the street, close enough to feel the heat, far enough to stay untouched. She wouldn't meet my eyes. That was my first confirmation. Not the trembling breath, not the way her chin tucked toward her chest. It was the refusal to look at me, because she knew what my eyes held. Truth, quiet, and a ledger she never realized I was keeping. I leaned back in my chair, let silence stretch thin and mean between us. Her friends shifted, glancing at one another like stage actors unsure if they'd missed their cue. I want out, she repeated, louder this time. For them, not for me. I felt something inside me settle. A click. A final piece falling into a puzzle I'd been assembling alone for months. Perfect, I said. Her friends froze. She did too. I let the words sink into all of them, before adding, now I can stop hiding that I know. A single blink. A single inhale from her friends. And I watched the entire performance collapse in real time. It hadn't started tonight, not even close. It started 3 months earlier with a soft laugh she tried to smother when she thought I was asleep. A text notification she flipped face down the moment I turned my head. A perfume on her clothes that wasn't hers, richer, sharper, the kind that lingered like a secret on someone else's skin. Small things. Always small things. But small things add up when you pay attention, and I always pay attention. She'd been stressed, she told me. Work was heavier, meetings longer, her boss demanding. I pretended to believe her, even when her stories frayed at the edges, even when timelines misaligned like broken clock hands. Denial is seductive. It asks so little, just silence. But silence has a weight. And mine grew heavier with every late-night phone call ending the moment I walked in. With every friend who suddenly became jealous of our relationship, because that's what she claimed every time I asked why they'd stopped visiting. Then there was the squad, her 3 closest friends. They orbited her like protective satellites, always with advice, always with warnings, always with reasons why her life could be better if only she changed something, someone, some part of herself she claimed I didn't understand. They didn't like me, which was fine. I didn't trust them, which was better, because trust is a door, and I never left mine unlocked. My investigation began quietly, unnoticeably. I didn't read her messages, too traceable. I watched patterns instead. She left earlier for work, came back later, smelled of anxiety in the mornings, scented confidence at night. I checked the car mileage. Not enough to match her stories, too much to match her job. I checked her boss's online calendar. He'd been traveling. She hadn't. That was the first real crack. Her friends' behavior shifted. They acted like people who knew something important, except they didn't know that I knew they knew something important. Their glances darted whenever I entered a room. Their chatter stiffened. Their smiles tightened. One of them slipped up. "Don't worry," she whispered to my wife in the kitchen. "You're safe." Safe from what? That's when the rage started simmering. Not loud, not explosive, just steady heat beneath the ribs. So I dug deeper. Phone records, work schedules, credit card locations. A message on her cloud backup she thought she deleted. Her voice breathless, telling someone, "He suspects nothing." I didn't confront her. Confrontation is a warning. Instead, I documented. I prepared. And when the truth sharpened enough to cut, I waited for the moment she would try to use the blade on me. Tonight was that moment. The evidence arrived like a final heartbeat before death. A forwarded email chain between her and her boss, sent by a coworker who had seen enough. It wasn't explicit, not physically, but emotional betrayal is quieter, more intimate. Late-night check-ins, shared frustrations about me, plans, imagined possibilities, conversations they didn't need to be having. And then, the message that ended any doubt. Let me know when you're ready to leave him. I'll handle the rest. I read it twice, once as a husband, once as a stranger. The stranger won. I printed it, folded it, slipped it into my wallet, waited. Then, tonight, at the table, when she said she wanted out, when her friends watched like eager spectators prepared to celebrate her bravery, I placed the folded paper on the table between us. Slow, precise, quiet. "What's that?" she asked. I didn't answer. I just waited for her to open it. When she did, her face crumpled. Not dramatically, not loudly, just collapsed inward, a building losing its spine. Her friends leaned in. Their pupils widened. Shock is loud even in silence. I stayed still. Stillness is power, and I had plenty. She looked at me with the kind of fear people usually reserve for strangers in dark alleys. "Why didn't you say anything?" she whispered. "Because I wanted to see how far you'd go." Her friends shifted. One swallowed hard. One whispered something like a curse. One stared at the floor, all color drained from her face. I continued, voice level, steady, surgical. "And I wanted you to finish your little loyalty test." Her eyes snapped up. "Loyalty test?" I nodded toward her friends. They stiffened like children caught stealing. "You told them I was cold, distant, so they came up with a plan to push me, to see if I'd fight for you, or let you go." She didn't deny it. She couldn't. "They thought you'd cry," I said softly. "They thought I'd chase." I leaned in just an inch, and instead I told you the truth you were terrified to hear. Her breath broke. Her friends looked horrified, because this wasn't the man they were expecting to break, because their script didn't include my composure, because villains aren't supposed to be calm. "Congratulations," I said. "You got your test." Silence. Dead, suffocating silence. "And you failed." I stood. No anger, no shaking hands. Just freedom where love used to live. She reached out, fingers trembling. "Please, can we talk about this?" We just did. Her friends said nothing now. No judgment, no bravery. Just the hollow realization that they'd helped craft their friend's downfall. I walked to the door, each step lighter than the one before. At the threshold, I paused, not for her, but for myself. Some endings deserve witnesses, even if the witness is only memory. "I'm done hiding," I said quietly, "and you're done lying." The door closed behind me with a soft click, a full stop, not a comma, not a pause, a conclusion. I didn't look back. I didn't need to, because the moment she said she wanted out, she gave me exactly what I needed: permission to leave the ashes where they belonged, behind me.